We are out passing out flyers, beautiful new flyer with Max and Gabriel and Stella Assange there, and of course pushing the 8th of October. But I can't do this alone with James. We need more people.
So now there's global actions happening all across the globe. There's something in, I think, Toronto and Ottawa. DC, obviously, is what I'm doing. There's stuff in Germany and all over the place. So the one in DC is going to be from noon to 3 outside the Department of Justice, which is obviously ground zero for the Assange case. And we have just a ton of amazing speakers.
I don't think Mr. Assange needs too much introduction.
Julian Assange gave us the truth about the empire, and we need more people like Julian Assange, and we need to protect the Constitution.
You know, I believe Julian's a hero, and he let us know what the government is doing in our name.
You know, what is the thin line between national security and a citizen's right to know what their government's doing? And I will say right up front that Julian Assange didn't just step over that line, he knocked the line down. He just said that line doesn't exist, he doesn't care.
Assange is a warning shot. Assange is a warning shot.
Julian took on the national security state, and he is being punished relentlessly.
You know, I think an important point to make is WikiLeaks actually offered offered to collaborate with the State Department back in 2010 to redact certain pieces of information, and the State Department declined. So for Mike Pompeo to have called it a hostile intelligence agency, I mean, is crazy.
So anyone who thinks that this is not a problem for all of us, it absolutely is.
People, we got to stand up. Rise up. Rise up, America. Rise up, people.
It's in your interest to support people who are prepared to stand up against the state and say no to criminal activity.
You gonna put all of us in prison? The truth is the truth.
Assange is a warning shot. Assange is a warning shot.
And just to be quickly clear with people who maybe aren't aware, the different sets are that we had military war logs from Iraq, we had war logs, military incident reports from Afghanistan, there were hundreds of thousands of diplomatic cables, there were detainee assessment briefs on each of the prisoners that have been held at Guantanamo Bay. There was also the collateral murder video, which was this very vivid military dash cam sort of video of the attack on a Reuters journalist and then some other innocent civilians inside of Baghdad.
They hate, I'm talking about an institution like the Times, they hate Julian. And they hated him when he was giving them that information. And the reason they hate him is because he shamed them into doing their job.
But let me tell you, every corporate media outlet that remains silent about Assange, that will not bode well for them in the future, because they could and will be next.
The situation with Assange, he's still in Belmarsh prison in London. The British Home Secretary has signed off on his extradition to the U.S.
Two defense experts said would lead him to commit suicide, even if he just learned that he'd be extradited before he even left the UK.
He had been confined, to the Ecuadorian embassy in London, basically having sought asylum from what was really a setup, an entrapment plan that had been created and was being executed by 5 so-called democracies who were really cornering him and essentially entrapping him in a process that's been very well documented by the United Nations Rapporteur on Torture, Nils Melzer.
So, these cases or I should say these attacks are dressed up as legal cases. But as Dr. Meltzer and Chris Hedges so eloquently pointed out, the legal case against Julian is a big nothing burger.
Assange is a warning shot. Assange is a warning shot.
Number one, most espionage cases are tried in the Eastern District because the Eastern District is home to the CIA, to the FBI Training Center, and to the Pentagon, as well as home to hundreds, literally hundreds, of defense and intelligence community contractors. Second, it's referred to as the espionage court because no national security defendant has ever won a case there. So of course that's where they've charged Julian Assange.
Most government cover-ups succeed. I've worked as an investigative journalist off and on for decades. Sometimes I can find good information, sometimes not. I often know that, okay, I've hardly even seen the tip of the iceberg.
So the Espionage Act charges against Assange, and there are 18 charges against him, 17 of them are under the Espionage Act, are very clearly about using the Espionage Act to criminalize the act of journalism.
Assange is a warning shot. Assange is a warning shot.
Nothing good can come of something like this.
Merrick Garland actually can step in here too, but he's kind of he's like non-existent. Like, I never see this man.
This is what's at stake here. the First Amendment. I'm saying this as a U.S. citizen. My name is Reverend Annie Chambers. I'm saying that America is doing this.
We wouldn't permit this to be done to a dog, and here it is being done to the world's, most famous political prisoner and publisher.
Rise up and say, we must stop what's going on in America. We will not. We are fighting for the freedom. 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 That's what we're fighting for. The freedom of Julian Assange. We stand with him. We are fighting that he be free.